When we hold on to grievance and pain from the past, we keep ourselves from being able to really move into our fullest expression of self. We need to practice forgiveness from the soul recovery perspective, dissipating the energy and releasing the past for good. If you're interested in this profound transformation, I invite you to join me in Colorado the weekend of June 8th and 9th to have an incredible experience with others on this same soul recovery journey. 2 full days of immersion in the soul recovery process where you will indeed leave transformed. You will be able to truly let go of these old pains and step into a new way of being. Check out the show notes for a coupon code and how to register. This is an episode with my sons, Alex and Bodhi, who are young men, and it originally aired in January of this year, 2023, for bonus episode members, the Patreon members and Apple Podcast subscribers. And it's a check-in when they were here from Christmas, and it's around our family and our family dynamics and around addiction and how we are accepting each other for where we're at in our different places of consumption of drugs and alcohol. And it's really about us healing. It's learning how to accept each other for exactly who we are and where we're at, and the soul recovery journey that we're all on. I wanted to bring it to you because as this is airing, I will have just come off of a trip of visiting them. And it was really important to me to be able to share my kids with you while I'm off hugging and being with them. Enjoy. My name is Reverend Rachel Harrison, and this is the Recover Your Soul podcast, a spiritual path to a happy and healthy life. I started Recover Your Soul after having profound changes in my life from my recovery of alcoholism, control addiction, and codependency. I was guided to share the tools and principles of spirituality and soul recovery to help others transform their lives as mine was transformed. For us to overcome external circumstances, we must first turn the attention to ourselves, focusing on inner change. Positive results in our lives will follow. Welcome to Recover Your Soul. This is Reverend Rachel Harrison, joining you here at the beginning of the year 2023 for season 4. I'm so excited for everything that's going to come this season. And I'm just going to kick it off with a bang because I'm sitting here with my 2 beautiful adult sons. Alex, say hi, Alex.
What up, everybody?
Who is 26, and my other son, Bodhi.
Hey, hi, how you doing?
Who is going to be 24 here in a couple of weeks. So go ahead and say 26 and 24. We'll just do it.
I'm down.
So you boys have been here for Christmas and arrived last week, and then that big, huge storm came in that has wreaked havoc on Southwest Airlines, and now you are here. We're not sure how long.
We were supposed to be back in California 2 days ago. Hopefully we're leaving tomorrow, but things are kind of hectic, so we'll see. We'll see how it all turns out, but we're pretty happy about being able to get some extra time here hanging out with the family. Alex and I went out with our dad yesterday and helped out with a little bit of work. Got to see a couple of his more recent jobs, his master's stonemasonry. Spent some quality time ripping out some frozen pavers from a fellow church member's backyard for one of his projects. So that was really nice to be able to do that. And now today we're able to sit down and chat together and do a little conversation, check in with everybody, and then we're going to go paint a surfboard.
We've done a lot of crafts this vacation, which has been really fun.
We have, including me and Dad making a Black Widow out of steel.
Oh yeah, that Alex worked for Rich for a couple years and also was a welding person at some job way out in the boonies. And they always make something for my mom, for Linda. And this year they made this incredible, pretty crazy Black Widow. That was really fun.
It scared her at first.
It did kind of scare her at first.
She was like, ah! It took her probably 20 seconds to warm up to it.
I think we made it a little too realistic, but
it was pretty crazy. But it's been a really fun trip, and I really wanted to bring them on because they are such an important part of my soul recovery story, and you know of them. If you've been listening to the podcast at all, you've heard their episodes on their own. So while they're here, I just wanted them to check in and let you know how they're doing and what's happening in the Harrison household. And also we're having a really successful trip. And so much of that is because of my soul recovery and because of Rich's soul recovery and because of our work on just accepting each other as they are and allowing these men to be exactly where they are in their lives, where they're at. And, Rich and I have been sober. I've quit claiming my husband's sobriety since we all know that his is new and fresh again. But I have been sober. We're coming up on 5 years in February. And it can be easy when you get sober that you want everybody else around you to get on the train. You have to be cautious about what that looks like. And I work with many of you, and a lot of you have communicated with me that my interactions with my kids is helpful for you with your interactions with your kids. So I wanted to just talk a little bit about what is working on this trip and why it's going so well. So I don't know, Bod, why didn't you start? Why is it working for you? How are you feeling supported?
Well, I feel like the main simple answer to that is just acceptance. Like, we've been accepting each other for what we want to do and where we're at. We've been Alex and I have been able to live as we please and utilize whatever substances we please in our private spaces around the home. It's been smooth with everybody, just allowing everybody to be as they are and be where they are. Nobody's nitpicking at each other, asking each other to change this, be this way, do that, not do this. We're all just kind of meeting each other where we're at and doing things together, getting creative together, not putting any expectations or pressure on each other or on any of the days. We're just very laid back, letting each other do our things together. And I think that's what's been working, because in the past, there can be a lot of coaching. Mm-hmm. is a nice way to put it, of, hey, I think you should be doing this, and hey, when you come to this, please don't do this or do this or whatever. And that can sometimes make things a little uncomfortable. And for certain people, it's like, hey, well, this is what I want to do, this is where I want to be, and like, you wanting that to be different for you to be okay makes me a little bit uncomfortable. And so for you to be comfortable, I got to be uncomfortable. But we're all been doing our work. You've been doing your soul recovery. Dad's been doing his soul recovery, and you're able to just allow us to be as we are, instead of trying to get other people to meet you where you're at,
I appreciate that. What about for you, Alex? How are you feeling?
I feel pretty good. And I agree with my brother about the acceptance thing. I think that was a big part of it for us. Just us all wanting each other to be different all the time and expressing that in the wrong ways, rather than coming together and just being and just loving each other for who we are and supporting each other through all the, all our quirks and stuff. And I think we're finally learning how to really do that and be happy with each other and be present, but also understand everybody's, I wouldn't say weaknesses, but there's definitely things that nobody's perfect, but we all learn to love each other anyways. And I think our family is really starting to feel that.
I've said, like, a badge of honor in the past, and it's what I have been working so hard on, is I'm only as happy as my least happy child. And so for a lot of years, that really meant that I was choosing to be unhappy, because being a kid is hard and life is hard and it's a struggle. And I gave my emotions away. I gave my power away by not feeling like I could be okay if either one of you weren't okay. And there was many years where either one of you weren't okay. And it's been really powerful for me to watch us as we're growing as a family to change our dynamics, where I'm not constantly afraid of what Dad says. And so I'm mitigating what that relationship is. And he's saying stuff that I don't like or judging. And then it just becomes this huge, we're four of us, so it's not a triangle, but this huge square of just unhappy, unhealthy feelings. And Rich and I decided before you guys came just to let you be where you're at. And last January, I think in January, February, Alex, you did an episode about how you had quit drinking in January and had started working out and had some real changes in your mental health. And Bodhi came in June and did an episode, and he had just recently had a breakup and was really struggling. So why don't we just do a little catch up of where you're at since your episode, and then we can kind of come back around to how we've related to each other on this trip. Why don't you start, Alex? How have you been since that episode? And since a lot of people that listen to this have people who are dealing with addiction, and soul recovery has a lot to do with what are we going to do to take care of ourselves and be our best selves, speak openly about what's going on with you as a young man.
Well, pretty much last time we spoke, I quit drinking. I quit smoking cigarettes. My marijuana use was at pretty much a minimum. It was mainly for sleeping. And I was going to the gym regularly, like 6 days a week. And I was eating very, very healthy. And all of that was very beneficial health-wise, obviously, but also helped me get my mind clear. And it got me a promotion at work. And some other things in my personal life that just really fell into place. And I couldn't be more happy about that. As of right now, going more into the winter, since the weather's been colder, I haven't been going to the gym as much, just due to work. And, my days are a little different now, but I still feel healthier, look healthier. And I will admit I have started drinking a little bit again, but it's not really a problem. It's just, I don't drink very often. I don't get hammered. None of that. So it's just more of a social thing. I like my beers, but I only drink like one kind of beer. I don't really drink hard liquor that much. So just kind of a beer guy, beer or 2 or 3 after work, depending. I don't drink every day. So it's pretty minimal, but I did start smoking cigarettes again just because with the good, there's always bad with the good, with all the great stuff that's been happening in my life. I've also, I get stressed out here and there. And so I have fallen back into my smoking habit, but I'm planning on quitting smoking marijuana and cigarettes and trying to go back on a cleanse. Probably, I don't know yet, but I want to push for the beginning of the year, do it in January again, because that's what I did last year and did a sober January, and it was an amazing feeling. So, but that's where I'm at, and everything that I did last time and all the steps that I took to better myself have paid off. And now I couldn't be happier. I'm basically working my dream job, doing graphic design at the Flow Life. And it's pretty amazing. And I'm pretty happy.
As a spiritual coach, I can support you on your path to make deep and real changes that will bring you a life of peace, happiness, connection, and abundance. Visit the website recoveryoursoul.net to book coaching sessions, read the blog, listen to some of my original music, and subscribe to receive email updates. I think of Recover Your Soul as a community. Follow us on social media, join the private Facebook group, and even our monthly soul recovery support group on Zoom to support each other and connect. For an extra episode each week, become a Patreon member or subscribe on Apple Podcasts. If these episodes are helping you in any way and you want to donate, you want to really figure out how can I support this community and recover your soul, please look at the show notes below. There is a link to be able to donate monthly, $3, $5, $8, or $10. This cost of a fancy cup of coffee would really help support this community and recover your soul. Together, we can do the work that will recover your soul. I'm super proud of you. And I think, one of the reasons why I wanted them to come on and talk about it is, man, if I think about my own recovery and I think about my patterns and how many times I thought this was the end or I was going to maintain or manage, I can't say to you guys at 24 and 26 years old that you should make certain changes in your life, because I didn't choose absolute sobriety till I was 48 years old. And my biggest regret is I raised my sons in an alcoholic home. And that's hard for me because there was a lot of years that could have been better in our family had I made different choices. And Dad has this whole thing where he feels like if he had made different choices in his early 20s, he would have had a whole other life. But I just watch you, Alex, in particular, for you in this situation, and the change that happened last January by you cleaning up just enough to really start to love yourself. I think I remember in that episode you saying that you could feel yourself and love yourself really for some of the first time as an adult, and you were healing from coming back from a lot of years of trauma here in Colorado with us. And it really did allow you to progress into a new phase of life, which I'm just so proud of watching you. So I can't say anything about the choices, but I'm glad it's not for both of you. I feel like I'm not worried that this is like your forever life, and I don't feel like you're unmanageable. But let's do a little check-in with Bodhi. Since you were back here in June, Bodhi, how are you feeling and how is your journey?
Well, I'm definitely a lot less emotionally raw. I remember back when I was here, I was in a pretty tender space. But I think since then, I've been going through a lot of time of healing. And I've just been really trying to focus on making time for rest and making time for creativity and making time for things outside of work that bring me joy and fulfill me. But I'm also really trying to focus on keeping my rest up and not overworking myself, because that's my hardest thing. I'm a Capricorn, and I'm the son of Rich Harrison, and I'm a very visionary person, and I have a lot of things that I want to do and a lot of things that I want to learn. So I have a very hard time just resting, just sitting and doing nothing. Like, you've probably noticed this whole trip, anytime a movie's playing and everyone's sitting, I'm like drawing on my iPad or like making music or with an earbud in watching tutorials or something, because I just can't get myself to I have a hard time getting myself to truly rest and truly like slow down. But in the last few months, I have slowed down because I had a very weird, highly emotional breakup that, well, I guess when it went down, it was cool. And then things got kind of weird and very emotional. And then I moved into a season of acceptance and of forgiveness and of letting myself feel my feelings. And that was when we all talked last, when I was in that raw place of feeling and of healing. And so, yeah, I've just been, trying to get creative, stay on top of things at work. I've been doing a ton of traveling. I've been to New York and Raleigh and Las Vegas and all over the place the last few months. And then I definitely had a very busy summer season with all the One Wheel stuff going all around. So I'm kind of in a season of burnout mixed with healing, and I'm doing good. I'm doing okay. But if I'm being real and being raw, I've been struggling a little more with my overall like mental well-being and my keeping a happy, positive thought stream and attitude. I haven't been very on top of my meditation and my journaling and my really taking care of myself. I feel a bit disconnected and a bit worn out, a bit like I'm trying to do it all myself and not making enough time to really sit with myself and sit with spirit, truly heal. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm in a weird space of trying to slow down and heal, but then also trying to maintain and keep up with things and stay productive and stay learning, which has kind of always been my struggle to an extent. I'm always trying to do things and learn things, but also slow down and not overwork myself and overwhelm myself.
You're still smoking pot and drinking a little too, right?
Yep. I drink a little bit a few times a week, and I smoke cannabis every day. But I honestly, like, something I wanted to talk about is that I don't want to smoke and I don't want to drink. Like, the me, my healthiest me, my best self, like, I want to be drinking a lot of water, eating a lot of good food, meditating, stretching, getting creative, working, and pretty much that's it, But I also have, it feels like, other parts of myself that want to do other things. It's like that constant battle all the time of the voice in my head that wants to just sit around and hang out and rest. And then there's the voice inside of my head that wants to learn music. And then there's the voice inside of my head that wants to do some doodles and draw. And there's the voice inside of my head that wants to jump on to Skillshare and learn about basic music theory.
Thank you, Bodhi, for sharing all of that. And I just want to acknowledge and recognize the vulnerability in having you both come and be honest about what's really going on with you, because I think especially now in this era of social media where we're all supposed to be presenting as if everything's perfect and aren't we wonderful and don't we look great and isn't our lives magnificent and there's not a problem in the world. And that's not true. That's not how life is. And I think that it's been really difficult for people's mental health, especially young people, especially during the pandemic. And it creates isolation and loneliness and a reality that isn't true. Because in soul recovery, what we're talking about is we don't have control of anybody else. I don't have control of you boys. And even when you share with me what's going on with you, I wish I could fix it. I wish I could make you happy. I wish I could, solve some of the issues that are happening in your lives. But the truth is, I don't have control. And when I work with people, I work a lot about letting go of the powerlessness, releasing that part of us that feel like we have control outside of ourselves. And it actually is a freedom. It doesn't feel like a freedom at first, but it's this also part that we think that we can control the narrative of what people think about us from the outside. And that narrative is dangerous. And so what I love about what's going on with you guys is there's so much success and there's so much good stuff that's happening, and it's so real, and there's complexity, and you want more for your lives, and you wish, it could be a little bit different. What I watch is I watch you each have depth of character and interest in expanding yourselves. And just talking about using in particular, one of the reasons why I can let you drink and smoke pot at my house when I'm sober and I wish it was different is because I trust and believe that this is not your forever. And if I am honest, I was doing the same thing when I was 24 and 26 years old. I didn't when I was pregnant with either one of you. I was totally sober when I was pregnant. But
Thanks.
as soon as I could, as soon as I could start drinking again, I totally did, because that's what felt good to me at that point. To just share, really what it feels like to be a human being and give other people permission to share and be what it feels like to be a human being, I think is the greatest gift that we can do for each other, to open for connection.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I think authenticity is important for sure. It's kind of hard to be raw and be real with people and feel like you can still maintain respect, which is something that I worry about. I worry sometimes when I have certain real conversations with people around me, especially people that I work with or do business with. I'm afraid to expose certain vulnerabilities in myself and then lose the respect of my peers, And I don't know, I think unfortunately there is a certain level of that, at least in my experience. I think right now, a lot of the people around me know that I'm in a pretty anxious place and I'm in a pretty not super calm and connected space right now. And that is kind of good to know, but then it's also kind of sucks to know, because something that I've discovered about myself is that I really want the respect of my peers and my friends and my family. I want the respect of the people around me, but I struggle with feeling like I deserve that respect, or feeling like I've been living and acting in a way that does deserve that respect. And so I think something that has been causing a lot of my mental disdain lately is I want to be respected, but I don't feel like I deserve the respect that I want right now. And so I'm trying really hard to get there and be this person that deserves this amount of respect and do these things, put out videos and put out my art and do things and create that respect for myself, and then feel like I'm getting that respect now. And I don't know, I kind of had that breakthrough with myself recently that respect is something that I'm struggling with feeling like I'm respected and respecting myself.
I think that totally makes sense, though. This is what the 20s and 30s are all about.
I was going to say that's very relatable.
Yeah. Is it?
Pretty much everything you just said.
It's how you feel too.
Hashtag relatable.
Yeah. I mean, this is what 20s and 30s is all about, is about figuring out who you are. I remember just recently I said to my mom, I'm going to talk more about some processing that I did in a workshop, but I was talking to my mom about looking back at the photo albums when she had me, and she had me at 23, right? So she was like super young. And I said, you didn't seem very happy. And she said, when I really look back and look at it, I wasn't. I was having a lot of existential crisis and trying to figure out who I was. Thank you, Bodhi, for sharing that so openly, because it is hard to figure out who you are at these ages and to stand in yourself with confidence and not have imposter syndrome and all of the doubt and the self-critic. What were you going to say about that, Alex?
I just thought it was interesting and kind of funny that you brought up the existential crisis thing, because that's kind of something that I struggle with almost day to day more than anything else. It's just that kind of thing. Like, what is the point? What are we here for? What is all this for? And that just never seems to leave my mind. And on top of that, if I'm being honest, lately, I've just had this weird sense of impending doom kind of thing. Just this looming, I don't even know how to explain it, but it kind of goes hand in hand with what is all this for?
Well, the world is pretty heavy right now.
I see so many things, and it's weird. It's like, what do you do? There's nothing you can do about it. So I want to keep up, but at the same time, seeing it is it's too much. There's too much going on right now. There's so much stuff in the world that we're not even hearing about. It's a lot. Which
also goes to sobriety is fabulous on so many levels, and it's hard because you're totally present and there is no place to check out. There's no place to hide. There's no place to hide your emotions. And so it's interesting that with everything that you guys are talking about, I know, and we've talked about on this trip, that both of you are like, this isn't a forever way of being, but for right now, I can't imagine not having this crutch to lean on. And so it makes sense. And so that's that part of me that, as a parent, as a soul recovery student of finding my own way, I have to trust and believe that this is your own journey to experience. And I can't remember which one of you said it to me the other day, but that just having me in recovery as deep as I am and Dad doing so much better gives you a ray of this is what it will be for me later in life, even if it's not something you're jumping on the bandwagon for right this second. Which one of you said that?
That was me. And yeah, that's true. I was talking about how sometimes you want to almost not be glad that there's so much recovery and sobriety in our life and just be like, oh, whatever, be, another person that just drinks and does whatever, follows our desires. But ultimately, I'm really thankful that there is so much presence of sobriety and recovery in our household, because it shines that light of awareness in us on ourselves. Even for me, it changes how I, view my usage and where I stand in it, and just kind of having that stuff around has definitely helped me. And I've gone through seasons of sobriety on my own in certain times where I wanted to heal or I wanted to learn. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think I've been pulled to sobriety so much, and I am always torn between being sober and not being sober, because I know that I've seen sober friends, I've done seasons of sobriety, I've seen how much energy you get from it, how much clarity you get from it, how much easier it is to be connected with spirit and connected with the people around you. And that's ultimately what I really, really want for myself. But I'm struggling with mostly proximity, because in my industry, in my environment, and in my friend group, and my state, pretty much everywhere I go, there's cannabis and people using cannabis, and offering it to me for free left and right. And so it's really hard. And also obviously beer and alcohol is everywhere for everyone. And proximity is something that I think we all struggle with, especially those of us that want to be, artistic or musical and do that in a community aspect, getting out with people, going to parties and festivals and events and stuff. It's all everywhere.
Yeah, by being a young person.
And being young.
What were you going to say, Alex?
Well, I totally agree with that. I was going to say that I think one of the hardest parts of sobriety is the social aspect of it. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's so beneficial for you and it does so many good things for you, but wow, your friend group and you definitely find out who your real friends are and who your party friends are.
Well, my hope that you get from me is some soul recovery tools, regardless of where you are in your addiction issues, because you can quit drinking or you can quit using. And unless you dig in and do the spiritual and the inner healing work, you haven't created a solution, an additional solution. Right. And so for me, what I love about the landscape now in recovery is I think it's really changed from a very black and white. For me, I never want to drink again. I don't want to drink again because I know I'm powerless over alcohol and that I may tell myself that I can just have one beer and I might just be able to have one beer for a while, but I know that it will eventually slip into what it ended up being for me. And for me, that's not worth it. But I'm also 53 years old. Almost 53. Mm-hmm. And so, I get where you guys are at. And I think the landscape has really changed now to not be so black and white where you have to be flat sober to be in recovery. You can do whatever your journey is, but the internal spiritual work is really where the healing comes so that you will wake up one day and say, this doesn't serve me anymore. This isn't beneficial to me anymore, regardless of what my friend group is. But if you aren't healing on the inside, you just want to check out. Mm-hmm. And so on this trip, I think one of the things that happened for Alex was there's a lot of pain that comes from being back in this environment and from our family and Bodhi as well. But Alex in particular has a lot more big T trauma, related. And you worked a bunch of stuff out on this trip and really allowed yourself to feel some feelings and move forward in such a profound way. I just feel like it helped clear us a path to be happier together during this time. But my hope is that you're going to take that healing home with you and it will stick in how you feel about yourself.
I definitely will. And I definitely feel like a weight's been taken from off my shoulders or inside of me or whatever it is. But I definitely feel lighter. It was just emotion that I was just holding down inside, because being in California, being far away, not seeing you guys, it's not like on the day-to-day, my mind's completely focused on other things. And that's why it's so easy to just repress those feelings. And like you said, there's definitely emotions and feelings from back in the day. And then there's stuff that's new from the fire. And I don't know if your listeners know, but I lost a bunch of my own things when my grandmother's house burned to the ground because I was keeping it there. When I moved out to California, left some of my, sentimental and valuable possessions there, and I lost all of that. And I definitely repressed those feelings for a while being out in California. So coming back here definitely brought up a lot for me. But like you said, it was good. And it hurts, feeling your feelings and going through it like that, taking it head on, it hurts, but it's the best thing in the long run because you get to feel those feelings and then it passes and then you feel lighter rather than just carrying it all around with you. I definitely am going to go back to California feeling better, and I want to continue to do more work like this. Just try to, come through it and come out the other side. Yeah.
I appreciate they let me lead them through a child healing experience meditation that I was really grateful for them letting me do a little Rev Rachel on my kids. And both of you said, that it was it was helpful and powerful. And yet it's hard to allow yourself to let that pass through you. But I believe that when you let it pass through you, it actually releases so much that's been shoved down and lets you not be afraid of what's in there.
I mean, you know what they say, there's nothing like a good cry.
That is the truth.
Dad and I were just listening to Power Now the other day, and Eckhart talks about the way to release these things is to give it your, like, find your presence, give it your awareness and your attention and acceptance.
Yeah, pushing them away does not make them go away. It just makes them.
You have to find them, face them, accept them, feel them.
Awareness is so key. So what maybe you're going to be here one more day, maybe you're going to be here a couple more days, but us learning how to just be where each other is at and just to love each other and see each other and accept each other instead of feeling like anybody is a project. One of the things that I've loved about this trip is sometimes when you guys come around, Dad and I get further apart from each other because we're each go back into our own roles. And it hasn't felt like that at all on this trip.
Nice.
And I really felt like you both have been able to be the men that you have become and that you are, and that I'm so proud of and that I love so much. There's no silver bullet that we can find that all of a sudden says, oh, good, there's no problems from here on out. That's not, as Alex was saying earlier, the point of life. The point is, if we do this work, if we have introspection, if we have awareness, we have more tools to just be present with whatever is and not freak out and be miserable in it. And I see that happening for both of you. I see you both gathering those tools.
Yeah, because it's all about how you handle things and about how you react to things.
Respond is better than a reaction.
How you respond to things. There's no doubt that things are going to be tough and they're going to be hard. And that's why it's not great to attach your well-being to other people, because we are all going to go through our roller coasters. But it's all about, like you're saying, developing our tools and developing our awarenesses and our levels of awareness of being able to reach certain obstacles or certain things and be able to take them as they are and handle them without it adding tons of crap to your bucket that's already full of crap.
Or thinking that you have control where you have no control.
Or thinking you have control and you can move this, change that, and get this person to do this, and it'll fix this and make this better and try to be an orchestrator. It's just not going to happen. It's all about the acceptance, non-resistance, non-violence, and finding them tools.
Love. What do you think, Alex? What's your close?
Those are all pretty money statements. I mean, basically, I agree that acceptance and awareness is big key players in living a happy life, and basically just realizing truly that you cannot control anybody except yourself. Mm-hmm. And the quicker you realize that, the happier you're going to be.
Thank you so much, both of you, for sharing yourselves with the soul recovery community and continuing to let me talk about you, even though I don't know if I actually ever asked you permission in the beginning. I may have.
No, you did.
Did I? Okay,
yeah,
good.
You were like, hey,
you did not.
No,
Just kidding.
Yes, me. Like, hey, can I talk about you on my podcast? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, who knew? Who knew that the podcast would become what it's becoming? I'm so grateful for everyone who's listening, and I'm so grateful for you guys being on this journey with me and letting me be me. Letting me be me and loving me for exactly who I am.
It's pretty easy to do that.
Yeah, you're a pretty amazing person, Mom.
Oh, thank you. Well, we're going to go have some more fun and do more crafts and enjoy our time together, whether it's 1 day or 4 days. We could have completely freaked out over the plane being canceled. And that's that part where we've just enjoyed it.
It's acceptance.
Right. We're accepting it and we're just all moving forward, and it's expensive for everybody because if they don't work, then we got to figure out how to fill that in.
There's bills to pay.
We're missing about a week of work, probably.
Yeah.
Probably like 5 days, which is it's a good amount, but
you guys could be totally tripping out, but you're not. So
We're not.
I'm glad. So let's go enjoy each other some more.
It is what it is.
Stay up, have fun, love yourself, love everybody else, and recover your soul.
Recover your soul.
Recover your soul.
Until next time, namaste. Are you wondering, how do I go deeper on my soul recovery journey? Or how do I support this great podcast? Well, here's your call to action. If you're ready for real inner change and would like to work directly with me, visit the website and book a coaching session. I'm here to support you on your unique path. I'm here to help you let go of the past, to deepen your connection with higher power, whatever that is for you, and then to discover and step into a happy and healthy life of your making. You can also become part of the Soul Recovery community. One way is to join the support group. It's the first Monday of every month. It's on Zoom from 6 to 7 p.m. Mountain Time, and you can register on the website and get your Zoom link. It's the same link every month. We are also on social media. Of course, there's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and now even Insight Timer. Yes, lots of ways to connect. There is even a private Facebook group that will allow you for more communication and conversation about soul recovery with your community. If you would like an extra bonus episode every Friday, you can become an Apple Podcast subscriber or choose your tier level of giving on Patreon. I'd also love all the listeners to subscribe on the website so that I can keep you informed on what's going on with the podcast, the community, with me, and anything that's up and coming and new and great about soul recovery. Also, if you just take a little bit of time and give me 5 stars, a quick review, share the podcast with friends and family, make sure you're subscribing however you listen to the podcast, we're helping even more people to have soul recovery in their lives. If this podcast is providing you spiritual nourishment and inspiration, thank you for going to the website, pushing the donate button, and giving whatever feels right to you. It means so much to me because I have this mission of sharing soul recovery with the world, and your donations, your bookings, your subscriptions, everything that you do to be part of this community is making all that happen. Together, we can do the work that will recover your soul. The Recover Your Soul podcast and its content is for educational purposes only and is not allied or representative of any organizations or religions. It's based on the opinions and experience of Reverend Rachel Harrison. Recover Your Soul claims no responsibility to any persons or entity for any liability, loss, damage, or cause alleged to be caused directly or indirectly as a result of its use. Applications or interpretations of the information represented herein. Take what you need and leave the rest.